In the Manufacturers' Confidence Index for Q2 2021 recently released, majority of the respondents agreed that multiple and overregulation by government agencies have depressing effects on manufacturing productivity. We saw the real GDP growth rate in the manufacturing sector in the second quarter of this year, up 3.49% year-on-year, higher than the same quarter in 2020. Well, joining us to paint a clearer picture on the happenings in the sector is the MD CEO, Coleman Wires and Cable, Mr. George Onofowoko. Thank you very much, Mr. Onofowoko, for joining us.
Good morning. Good to have you.
Well, I guess we have to start off this conversation with the data just released this morning, talking about inflation. I mean, it affects you too, and some of you manufacturers are the ones perhaps adding the prices. Maybe, I mean, we listened to Mr. Rewane there talk about the exchange rate pass-through effect, and I know that talking about this exchange rate, you manufacturers are part of, perhaps, will I call you the culprit?
Oh, I think that's, unfortunately, it looks like that, but we're not, really. For whatever industry that anybody is in manufacturing, the critical part of any business is survival. Survival means you must be able to work within certain cost of production. Now, if those costs start changing because of the pass-through of what today is FX in the last couple of weeks, then it's either whether your product is inelastic or elastic to determine. If it's inelastic, it's easy for you to pass through those costs. And those would signify impact on inflationary indexes immediately. And I'll say in most of the cases, most of the products manufactured in Nigeria are inelastic, majority of them. And when you look at that, so you see the impact instantly on the inflationary indexes. Now, for me, what he said is right. It's unfortunate, like in the last 3-4 weeks or 5 weeks, we've seen Naira devalue from a unofficial index of about 500 to 1 to about today. I think as of the last count, I was seeing 560. Yeah, now, that is scary. Now, for any manufacturer, and one thing I've argued, I think in the last EPC meeting of the Manufacturers Association, my argument was, look, let's stop talking about getting Forex for raw material again. We're not getting it. Everybody, from what I see, has already benchmarked its Forex against the unofficial positions. Now,
so, but even after the last pronunciation by the central bank at the MPC, stopping the issuance of Forex to the BDC and, of course, encouraging both manufacturers and individuals to go to the banks, are you saying that you guys still find it difficult assessing Forex in the banks? Because there are some people are saying that some manufacturers get this Forex and they are hoarding it. And that's part of the problem in the system.
It might be possible. This is Nigeria. We can't say nothing is impossible. Some people take advantage of this system. They take advantage of structures. Now, but irrespective of that, the majority are not. Now, but the majority are not benefiting. When you look at it, I'm in a situation where we've been doing expansion work for the past 1 year. And we're doing the first fiber optic cable factory, the first in Nigeria now. And when you look at the FX, I have not been able to get FX. For the past 1 year, and the project is almost completed. Now, but you look at it, how did I get the Forex? It's impacting the bottom lines. And that's the reality. Even for the manufacturing plants that you want to buy, you can't get the FX. So forget the raw material. So if I can't even get the FX to buy the machinery that I'm going to use to create jobs, forget the FX for the raw materials. So the critical part, really, and I said, in my own view, we know the answer and we know the solution. But for me, there's no political will to do it.
But with this raw material issue, is there, any solution for that?
I said we know the solution. Now, I have proposed a solution, and I've argued this with a lot of bankers and people in the finance industry. I said, look, and indirectly, even Mr. Rewane has said it some time back, we need to bite the bullet. Now, the reality of this bullet is that this FX is speculative. It's enhanced by we being afraid of the next day, and we are front-loading. Now, how do you stop that? It's very simple. Decide to take everybody on. And this is how I say they should take it on. Today, you have a backlog of FX, and we have people also front-loading. The way you can stop it is to put the hammer on everybody at the same time. CBN has done it before in 2016. We need to sell forward all this money. Don't bother about what the situation is. CBN has to bite the bullet and say, everybody collect your money in 90 days, and I'm selling you $4 billion in forwards. Now, what happens with that is two things happen instantaneously. You sell a forward at $4 billion. You remove forwards of Naira instantly of $4 billion. If you drain the system of $4 billion, believe me, we'll have liquidity issues. Nobody will front load any money. Now, but in 90 days' time, all of us will get the money. Now, to avoid round tripping is the reason why you are forward loading that money to them. You're not giving them instantly that $3 billion. So nobody really has $3 billion in their hand. But they've all lost $3 billion in equivalent in Naira. So you created the crunch in liquidity that will ease this problem. You've given guarantees to everybody in the future you're going to get your $3 billion. We solve the problem of front loading. It will ease the tension. Now, for me, I think the problem is we all just don't have that political will to do it because the consequences, there are instantaneous consequences. You create a $3 billion equivalent in Naira liquidity crunch. You would most likely have an impact on inflation and interest rates instantaneously. Right. That will be temporary.
Okay, let's not just dwell so much on the issue of this Forex. Now, we saw that manufacturers released their CEO confidence index. Well, it seemed to have looking good, but then there are some issues that were pointed out aside from the FX issues. There's taxes, issues of taxes and over, regulations. How do these play into your business?
It is. Now, the issue of taxes, especially the issue of VAT that is now coming on, is really scaring every manufacturer on how to do businesses, especially those that have businesses beyond their regions. So you have someone doing business in Lagos State and having depots in Port Harcourt, in Abuja. Now, my question was the case of where do we start talking about the input and the output tax involvement? Right. So,
because that might just create some kind of multiple taxation.
It is going to end up until I think what has to happen is the federal government and the state must come to an agreement on how this is collected and who collects it. I think it's better if one person still collects it, but who owns it, owns it. I think I was watching one of this, the person that initiated VAT. He said, look, the whole point of the initiation of VAT was that the states that actually initiated it, that generated it, should collect it like a sales tax. But there should be a 5% fee for helping them collect it. And I think that's what the federal government should just get involved
But do we don't really operate the sales tax system. I think that was stopped for a long time. And then VAT took over. Now, is it that they have to go back to that sales tax system where the states would have to, and then if that happens, every state would have to pay their own tax. So you probably get to Lagos, you're paying more tax than whoever that is perhaps in Imo State.
I don't think the way forward is to actually go back to sales tax issues. We can definitely operate the VAT issues continuously. Now, the key thing is that there's no state that doesn't know the amount of VAT that is collected. Everybody knows. The key question is, since I know how much is being collected and I accept a fee for you to just deduct out of it and return my money, then it's fair. Then it will still be handled by the FRS, but then on a basis of fee only. And I think that will calm a lot of things down and we can move forward. There will be no need for sales tax. Everybody will know that the VAT generated from anywhere, irrespective as it's collected nationally, you know your input, you know your output tax, you can actually move on businesses.
And there's still another, the proposal for excise duty on carbonated drinks.
And here we are talking about inflation numbers that is still on double digits.
If I have to speak on the behalf of manufacturers, and I've been an ESCO member of MAN, we need to be careful as a country, we need to be careful as a government, we need to be careful as states, even as local government. The drive for IGR, internal generated revenue, it's sometimes overdriven to the point it's counterproductive. Now, for whatever they're trying to do on the beverages, yes, the beverages for Nigeria, in sincerity, are actually a better growing industry than most of them. Now, the investment in that sector has been increasing over the years massively, even especially by Nigerians in the actor today. You have so many drinks available in the beverage industry. But we don't want to grow something and do it well. I've been to Ghana and I looked at the beverage. I went to a supermarket and you could say 99% of what was there is imported. Today in Nigeria, if you go into a supermarket, 99% is made in Nigeria. And we're all very proud of drinking made in Nigeria now. I don't think we need to drive IGR at the cost of businesses and employment and creating jobs. I think that they need to kill that idea instantaneously. We are just coming out of COVID. For most of the industry, I don't think they've come back to normality yet. So driving IGR by killing the businesses that have managed to survive 2 years of COVID, I don't think it's
so
the right.
So it can be done, but it's about time.
It can be done. It's not the time for it yet. We need to first get this economy back into a level of growth that we can all say it's creating the employment and generation of jobs to standardize. We looking for more IGR, not immediately.
All right, let's look at the issue of the MPC, of course, meeting this week. That should be on Friday. And then from the manufacturer's perspective, what are you hoping to hear this time?
You know, there's always two flips to every side of the coin when it comes to APC meeting. I think for our side, we'll always want interest rate and all the indexes left as it is. On the other side, you have the economics on the other side telling us that there's an imbalance between interest rate and inflation. We all understand that. But look, I have to be a bit selfish here. I'm a manufacturer.
But even with interest rates out where it is now, are you getting, I mean, there are some people saying that even at that, manufacturers are still getting their funds at higher interest rate, 22%?
I don't believe so. Anybody getting 22%, look, in any business, there's risk calculations. If your business is very risky and I want to borrow you high-risk lending, of course, I'll borrow you at 22. If your manufacturing business is not high risk today, you shouldn't be at lending rate more than 14, 15, 16. That is the reality. Maximum 18. I do not see anybody at 22. Now, so anybody saying 22, we need to ask them the question, what they're doing
What
as
exactly
a business.
Anyway, thank you very much. Time is never our friend, but we have to leave this conversation here and keep talking about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, we'll take a break. When we come back, FX Commodities Market Update is next. Just stay with us.